Okay, Greg, here we are live.
Hey,
Welcome back. Good to see you.
good to see you, Rick.
Here we are again. So it's our third episode. Just by way of introduction, I'm Rick Sorensen. I'm an emergency medicine physician, and I've been working with Greg for a few years. And we've just kind of got this passion for health, wellness, and weight loss. Really seen a lot of success in people, and so we wanted to put this thing together. And let Greg kind of take it away a little bit on that.
Yeah, as Rick had said, Greg Camp, nurse practitioner. I work in the emergency department with him. And then we do actually some wellness and weight loss stuff, when in our free time, whatever that means. This project is really just a labor of love for us. This is something that we're passionate about. And, we see all ends of the spectrum of health. And so this was something that we just are talking about a lot anyways. And we just really find that it just fascinates us. And we're talking about it with patients. And so we decided that we were going to try to broaden our, really just broaden it to a bigger group. So we're going to be doing these podcasts and hopefully you find them helpful.
Great. Yeah. And just as a reminder before we get started, we want to let you know that the information shared on our podcast here, Healthy Ever After, is for educational and informational purposes only and not intended to be medical advice. We may discuss topics such as weight loss strategies, nutrition, exercise, GLP-1 medications, supplements, and weight loss programs. But this podcast is not a substitute for personalized medical care. Always consult with your physician or qualified healthcare provider before starting, changing, or adding any medication, supplement, or health program, especially if you have underlying medical conditions. All right, so it's out of the way. Let's get started. So last week we talked a little bit about goals. We learned how to believe the good things about ourselves, how we can tell ourselves a better story and things. That was great.
I think the thought behind us starting with mindset is because isn't this just all mindset, right? If we don't have the right mindset going in, then how can we really build on anything else? So I think it really came down to, let's start with mindset because that's going to be the kind of foundation of this. And hopefully Rick and myself, along with the research we talk about, hopefully that'll give you another basis to build on. But mindset, it starts there.
Yeah, and it's easy to think, weight loss is a physiologic thing, but the process of doing all the things you have to do, it's so much a mind game. So we were really grateful for that. We also talked a little bit about goals, setting goals, because it was New Year's. We're now first part of January. Everybody's hot and heavy on their New Year's resolutions, right? See how they're doing. We talked a little bit about the difference between outcome-based goals and process-based goals. And that's the difference between, like, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to live healthier. Whatever these outcomes are that we want, those tend not to be as successful. It's kind of this ill-defined thing. How do I get there? It's the how do I get there steps that are process goals. So rather than I want to lose weight or I want to live healthier, get goals like, I will eat a protein-focused meal once a day. I will walk for 20 minutes after dinner 4 times a week. Like very, very defined, achievable. Yeah. That let's maybe just rehash that a little bit. The achievable part, because what we're really interested in is not just this kind of I can hit it hard and lose some pounds and then it just bounces back. We want something that can be sustainable.
Sure.
And that tends to be a little slower, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And when we talk about process, right, I think if you're only outcome driven, sometimes that's where we can get really distracted and unfortunately lose our momentum for our progress. We're working on these New Year's goals. Hopefully everyone is getting on board with that. And even if you're not starting it in the new year, right, whenever you decide to try to make these changes, if our only goal ends up being, I want to lose 25 pounds, and we're not focused on the way to get to that 25-pound weight loss, I do believe that is when we get a little bit distracted and can be a little bit discouraged because we're doing all the things right. And maybe you go a week or two and the weight's just not coming off. So we really feel like the process of it all is where we find that you have the most success.
Right.
And eventually it leads down that path of your goal of losing 25 pounds is kind of an end goal.
Right.
But
it's like a byproduct. Like it's not just easy to get distracted, but easy to get discouraged if you don't get it. Because I know you've had people in the clinic that have this number in mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to weigh 145 pounds, and they've lost, they started at 210, right?
Yeah.
And they're down to 151 pounds.
Yeah.
Not the 145 goal that they set.
Yeah.
But they've lost what,
Totally.
60 pounds almost. And they express this immense sense of failure. Like I can't get it. I can't get down to 145. That's my goal. But then you just ask them, oh, so, but how do you feel? I feel great. What?
Yep.
How do your clothes fit? Oh, I had to buy all new clothes because I'm down 3 sizes.
Yeah.
Like all these things, but in their mind, they're just haven't got to this outcome because they set this artificial kind of goal. Everything else is good.
Yeah. I agree. And sometimes we do get fixated on numbers, right? Like just like, hey, after my first child, I got down to 145 and that's where I felt amazing.
I had the whole baby weight problem.
Yeah. Me and you both.
I tried that excuse.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. I did have a patient that recently you kind of just triggered that memory of just a recent patient that, her goal was not weight-based. It was solely, I want to be able to run up the stairs after my grandchildren. She says she has very active grandchildren. If you have grandchildren, right, they're active, they're out running you big time. She just said she wants to be able to play and run after them up the stairs without getting tired, without getting too winded. That was a totally reasonable goal. Her goal for losing weight, yeah, sure. She wasn't really focused on the pounds. She was more focused on the functionality of what weight loss can do for you. And I think that's most of us, right? If we were never able to look at a scale again, and we just were able to set aside I just want to feel better. I want to fit in a certain size of clothes. I want to be able to run up the stairs like this individual that had a goal of just being able to chase after her grandkids. She didn't care. She didn't care if that was at 170 pounds or 140 pounds. She just wanted to be able to feel much better and hurt a lot less after she was done running after those grandkids. And so, I think that in my experience, and this is obviously very subjective, in my experience, most of the time, those patients or those people that I talk to that are able to focus on those goals in a more process-based sense, and then ultimately achieving these things that don't really have a number on the scale, I find that they are able to just be much more successful because ultimately they're not getting distracted by, I didn't lose any weight this week, when maybe they feel way better. They're like, I dropped a size in pants this week, or I have to go down to the last notch in my belt buckle. That's so encouraging. But if they get distracted by the weight that didn't really come off, because sometimes you are losing inches and not pounds, then they can just get really distracted and, like Rick said, discouraged. And discouragement feeds discouragement, just like momentum feeds momentum. Yeah. And so we want to keep the momentum going in the right direction. Not that you're not going to have hangups and times where you're maybe having some doubts, but that's where the mindset comes in that we talked about last week.
Okay, great. So now, so we set some good goals, and we want them to be achievable. So this isn't about like running a marathon tomorrow or big changes. And maybe we get into a couple little specific things that we can do, but let's talk for just a second about why it's hard to make big changes. Maybe what we got to figure out how to get a cough button on this thing.
Yeah, right. Where's the cough button?
So small changes are achievable, but any change in our body. So if my goal is I'm gonna change my physiology, I'm gonna change my body, I'm gonna weigh less. Like how does my body respond to that? And why is that hard?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest takeaway points of when we're talking about making big changes versus small changes, our bodies are creatures of habit, and they tend to like homeostasis. Homeostasis just meaning that they like the same. They like to find this level, good ground of just feeling like getting on a steady playing field, so to speak. And so anytime we're making these massive changes, these really big changes in our life, good or bad, oftentimes there can be some negative effects with that. In this case, we're talking about just being healthier and hopefully losing some weight, which is, obviously the focus of this podcast. And when you make these massive changes, as Rick had mentioned, running a marathon tomorrow shouldn't be the goal. Unfortunately, that's going to usually lead to a lot of disappointment, but we're going to let ourselves down because most people can't go and just run a marathon tomorrow that haven't been training and going through this. So, and our bodies won't respond well, right? If you tried to do that, run that, the proverbial marathon tomorrow, you're going to be sore, you're going to be tired, you're probably going to get injured. And the same happens for weight loss, right? I mean, we ultimately end up setting ourselves up for these lofty goals. There's nothing wrong with having these goals, but it's ultimately when you make these massive changes all at once, you're just going to shock your body. And
even if it's small changes, your body perceives things different. I mean, it's a little simplistic, but physiologically, you start losing a little bit of weight over a long period of time. Making even these small changes, your body eventually is going to say, "Hey, wait, whoa, hold on."
Yeah.
That it doesn't think lose weight, be healthier. It thinks you're starving me to death.
You can't find food. You can't find water or shelter. I am like pumping the brakes on this. And so even with slow change that happens, you can imagine what happens when you try to crash diet and like all of a sudden all this weight starts shedding, your body.
So it works quick.
Yeah.
But then your body's like, whoa. I'm fixing this.
Yep.
I'm staying how I am.
Yeah. You often see people with these intense weight loss programs that are, very calorie restricted and even restricted on some foods, like some foods that are actually pretty nutrient dense. But, if the only goal is weight loss and it's not health,
right,
then sure, you can restrict a whole bunch of foods that are otherwise nutritious that don't always like amplify weight loss. But ultimately what ends up happening is that we sometimes shock our bodies the wrong way. And your body loses a lot of weight really quick, only to really pump the brakes hard later because you've crashed your metabolism. And so, yes, making those slow changes are going to be better for your body long term. Do you have to have more patience? Absolutely, you have to have more patience. But at the end of the day, your goal needs to be that you want this sustainable change.
Yeah, and so you make some changes, and you trick your body.
Yeah, and you have to trick the body a little bit
into not fighting you against it.
Yeah,
which is good. I mean, it's a survival thing.
Yeah,
like a survival mechanism. Did I just smack my?
I think off? A little bit.
I can just turn my sound off. Okay, well,
a little bit louder.
Technical adjustments. Okay,
sorry, and we can go so many ways with that, and it's
I know.
It's true that you want to see progress, but you don't always want to go so far as to shock your body to the point where it's gonna, the weight's coming off now and then you get punished for it later.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking about this and I'm like, in my mind, you're talking about, nutrition and calorie restriction. And when it comes down to it, dieting and losing weight, it really is about the simple physiology of calories in and calories out. Like your body needs to burn a certain amount of energy, use a certain amount of calories every day just to stay alive, just to do the regular things that staying alive is. And so what we try to do over time, make a little adjustment so that you're in a little bit of a calorie deficit, so that your body's forced to use some of its storage. And it's simple things like that. But we don't want to be in a nutrition deficit, right? Like calorie deficit is not the same as nutrition deficit. And that's where I think a lot of people fail on this is they just stop eating.
Yeah.
And really don't realize you've still got to have some vitamins and minerals and there's a lot of things that you can still intake and eat healthier, but with less calories, and give your body the tools that it needs to not really think it's starving to death.
Yes. And so, yes, your basal or basic metabolic rate is what Rick is talking about. This is the amount of calories it takes for your heart to beat, for your basic functions to essentially for your body to exist the way it does. You need to breathe. You have to maintain a certain level of brain function. This all takes calories. And so your body, requires, depending on your size and your muscle mass and a lot of factors that come into play, your body does require a certain amount of that. So it's very important to be mindful of that, because if you drop significantly below that, you're gonna struggle for a little while, most likely with energy, even though you do need to drop, right? We're trying to decrease the amount of calories overall. You need to drop, but you do this drastically, boy, you are going to be dragging mentally, physically, sometimes even emotionally. So, and then when you talk about it from either the next level, which is like your nutrition. So your micro and macronutrients. Micronutrients being all your vitamins and minerals, your macronutrients being proteins and fats and carbohydrates. These are all very important. And I do believe that a lot of times we ignore the nutrient part of this and we focus solely on the weight loss as though that's the only indicator of health.
Right. Just that one number on a scale.
Yeah. And it's wild. So, that's why we want to do this, right? Yeah. So because we don't want to just people to.
So we'll do a whole episode on composition, like there's not the number of a scale, but your visceral fat and your body water and your muscle mass and all those things. That's great. But let's talk about. So we did a little post on our Instagram the other day about water.
Yeah.
And talking about nutrients and things. Water doesn't seem like. It's just water.
It's true, and really,
but why is it a secret weapon?
And why do people do not think of water when you think of like what can I eat, what can I drink, what can I do to help lose weight? Most of the time, water I think is probably if that even makes the list, it would be at the very bottom.
Yeah, but would you put it at the bottom? Or would you call it maybe like the first, best, biggest, most important step?
Number one or number two? I mean, that and protein really are. I mean, boy, it's and I did the 6'7" reference. I should not do that. With that's the popular. Yeah, that's the.
I have zero idea.
Yeah, my kids all get a kick out of that. I cannot be doing that. That's a new age thing.
I have a 1.5-year-old grandson.
Yeah, it's coming.
Taught him how to say this and go 6, 7.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
I have no idea.
Protein and water.
Protein and water, they're about the same.
I mean, really, very good, very equal, and very much. And I think protein's got a lot more attention recently, and so I think that one's not as people are not as naive on the benefits of protein.
Yeah.
However, water. Huge one. I mean, physiologically, the way that our body uses water and the reason why it matters so much for weight loss is because ultimately, physiologically, if you are not hydrated, you are telling your body something's not right. I'm not getting the water I need. And your body goes into total panic mode. You can increase cortisol levels, which we all know cortisol levels are going to be that stress hormone that's released in terms of you telling your body something's not right. Your body thinks you can't find water. If your body thinks that if you had water readily available next to you all the time, which we do now, right? In the modern United States, at least, like you have water next to you if you want it. Your body goes into full panic mode. It thinks you can't find water. And so what happens? You release cortisol. That's a stress hormone that's going to make that much harder for you to lose weight. Now you're talking about just lipolysis. Just the simple breakdown of fat is a chemical process. And that's ultimately the goal, right? No one's trying to lose anything but fat when they're losing weight. We want to keep good muscle and bone and all the good connective tissue. No one's trying to lose their hair or anything else like that. And so we need to provide don't rub it in. We need to be able to provide our body with the nutrients and one of those nutrients being water that we really need to be able to include in what we're adding to our body to be able to make sure that our body can carry out that chemical process. It's going to take care of your kidneys and your liver. It's going to help your body keep those cortisol levels as low as possible while we're trying to lose weight so that your body's not trying to hang on to everything as a reflex, as a danger reflex. It doesn't know why you're not getting enough water. And we could go on for hours on.
Just know that it's a big deal, right?
It's a big deal.
And the other thing about like water, not just the biochemistry of water. I mean, it acts as when we talk about fat loss and what your body's doing when you're using fat as opposed to food that you eat with that calorie, it says I need to get a few extra calories, and it takes it from the fat, and over time that's how you lose that weight. But that's all a chemical process, and water is key to making that happen and making it function. If you don't have the water, your body's like, nah, you can't even do the chemistry without the water. The other thing though, just out of the kind of biochemical realm is that a lot of times when I feel hungry, I'm trying to cut my calories and I feel hungry. I mean, you're going to feel hungry when you are needing to use calories from storage rather than food. It's part of the thing. But a lot of times when I feel hunger, it's because I'm thirsty, right? And your body perceives that very similarly. And so drinking a glass of water can be super helpful as far as, getting over that, I don't know, a few minutes in the morning or right before lunchtime or before dinner. I get really hungry in the middle of the afternoon, drink a glass of water. And a lot of times just give that a few minutes and your body perceives that. Then it's like, okay, I'm good. Right.
Made some significant observations in clinic in terms of patients that bolster up their water intake. It, usually within even 1 month, that next follow-up visit, if they're telling me I've gotten more water in, I'm doing much better on the water, I immediately hear afterwards, and that's helped my appetite and cravings so much. And, it just goes back to what's driving appetite and cravings. And sometimes we've all been there. We've all had a meal and 2 hours later, gosh, I'm so hungry. What the heck's going on? In many cases, that is not actually hunger. In many cases, your body is asking for water.
Yeah.
But what do? Right? I'd rather go eat something than go drink some water.
Right. 100%. And even at mealtime, if you start with a glass of water first, then you're not gonna overeat as frequently, right? Like
absolutely,
it helps give that sense.
It is a physical barrier, right? You fill up your stomach with a fluid, one that we're telling you is going to be doing all these other amazing things for you, and you're filling up, and then it does create a physical barrier, right? You just fill up your stomach, and then when you're taking care of that thirst need, that you're going to notice appetite and cravings are less, and then like you said, that physical barrier for right before a meal, so you can use it to say, hey, I'm going to try to ingest less. I'm going to make an attempt to eat less, and what a great way to do it! Like put a physical barrier there.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So water is one of the small, but top 2 important things you can do.
Yeah.
How much water should somebody be drinking?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, and we've always heard the 8 glasses a day, and we really pretty much subscribe to that. I mean, there's in a lot of cases, most people, unless they were crazy active, working really active jobs, or even working out really hard, wouldn't need really more than that 8 glasses a day. So 8 times 12, let's say anywhere around like 80 ounces of water a day, give or take, for a person. If you're a more active person, I would say that's probably closer to 100 ounces of water a day. If you were less active or had a really, day that was really mild, you might be able to get away with a little bit less.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the overall amount of water intake, we get really obsessed, might be the wrong word, but really hyper focused on, I need to get 80 ounces of water every day, or I need to get 100 ounces of water every day. One thing that I think has really helped not only myself, but like a lot of my patients, is starting to look at my water intake for the week instead of the day. And so, because you're going to have days where it's just not your best water day. And when that's the case, I think that sometimes, once again, we can get hyper focused on some of the, I didn't get enough water today. Oh, dang it. And feels like it throws you off.
And we can say to ourselves, I am a person who sometimes doesn't drink enough water.
That's right. So I think it really comes down to trying to broaden that. When you look at your water intake, you're going to have days where it just wasn't your day. You were super busy. You got distracted. You forgot your Yeti mug of water that you always carry around in the truck. Yeah. And so rather than getting hyper focused on that day, yes, every day we should try to meet those water goals. But ultimately, if you just look at it at a week and you say, hey, look, 5 of the days of the week, I was really awesome on my water, and the other 2 days I could have used some work. I think you can, that is a win.
Yeah. Now, so would you agree with my advice that if you're going to err on the side of a little too much water?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to, I mean, theoretically you can drink too much water.
Sure.
But
we're not seeing that, just so you guys know, we're never seeing that in the ER. I mean, I know it happens, but we're not seeing overhydration in the ER. If something brings you in, it's going to be the dehydration.
Yeah. Like 1,000 times to 1. I think in 20 years, it's a handful of people who just drank water to where their sodium got too low.
Yeah.
But I mean, just take some electrolytes. They have a Gatorade. With some water.
Well, eat some food.
Electrolytes, or eat some food. Yeah, like real food.
Yes.
Because guess what's in there?
Yep.
Electrolytes.
Yeah.
Nutrients.
Yep.
Yeah. So good. So err on the side of a little bit too much water, and a little life hack on that. You mentioned like the Yeti mug. I mean, everybody's got the little drink thing. You've got yours right here.
Yeah. I take it everywhere.
And just having that always with you, in the car, when you're going out on errands, whatever. I mean, if it's there, then you can try and just make sure you're sipping throughout the day.
Totally.
Little
Yeah, I know.
hack.
See, like me and my wife are different here. You know, I carry around my mug and it has to be an insulated one because ultimately it has to have ice in it. I can't drink warm water. I could, but it's not desirable. And I know
your body tells you you can't find cold water.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's going on? I just like cold water, and yet my wife can drink it. In fact, she prefers to drink it at room temperature. I'm like, madness. That is crazy to me. I find it wild. But so she,
but it's water. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Water. She doesn't care. And for her, she likes it. She said that she doesn't feel like she can drink as much if it's freezing cold. Me, I'm just the opposite. I want to drink it cold. So I think it's important to know that whatever your method is for this, it doesn't matter. It's whatever method works for you. Some people refuse to carry around any kind of water bottle and they want to drink it out of a water fountain or take it out of a, out of the sink and just fill a cup. Whatever your method is, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Just drink water.
I guess that reminded me of a little story time. I trained in the University of Arizona, Tucson. So there was frequently debates because there were groups that would leave like water stations in the desert because there's a lot of, people coming up from the southern border.
Yeah.
And they're walking through the desert. It's like the southern Arizona desert. It's hot and it's dangerous. And they would leave these water stations. And there were some people that were like, hey, that's inhumane because if someone got there, it's hot water. It's sitting out in the desert and it's hot. And physiologically, hot water is way, way, way better than no water in the desert. Like it doesn't matter what the temperature is.
Yes.
That's a preference thing, but just drinking the water, hot, cold, whatever, is life-saving and super helpful with all the stuff we're talking about.
And your body's going to make sense of it all, right? I mean, your body at the end of the day, sure. I mean, would it be preferred that they had cool water? Yeah.
100%.
We're talking about life and death.
Right.
And in this case, in a long, more broad term, we are talking about life and death. I mean, really, it's not that extreme that you're walking through a desert, but I think if we think about water and even all these other health things that we're going to be talking about, sure, you're not walking through a desert, but you are proverbial.
But you are.
As a
if you're not drinking,
how do you say that?
Proverbial?
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
Yeah, that's my tongue wasn't twisted that way. But really, you are. This is like, you're probably not going to die tomorrow, but these ultimately, a lot of these things that we're talking about ultimately is going to end up leading to disease and ultimately your demise.
Well, and even on the short term, you said you're not going to die tomorrow, but your body thinks you are.
Yeah.
Like
total panic mode.
It doesn't have like I didn't really get it's like, whoa, something's happening here. I need to like rally the forces and save my life because I haven't had a glass of water.
Totally.
So
the autonomic systems of your body, the autonomic systems of your body cannot be reasoned with. They're not that the reasoning part of your brain and the autonomic systems, you taking a breath, you doing all the things that you do. These are not things that like you can't reason with these things. They don't care about how you feel about them in terms of your emotions. All they care about is, are my needs getting met? Do I have enough water to make sure that I can make it to the next day, that I'm helping with my heart and my kidneys and my brain and everything else that is so important for this.
All right. So say that again about the autonomic nervous system.
So as far as the autonomic, what did you say?
It cannot be reasoned with?
It cannot be reasoned with. Truly, you cannot.
Yeah, I love that.
You cannot reason with it. It is going to do what it's going to do. And that means releasing cortisol and all the other things that it does in terms of stress. And ultimately, you cannot decide all you can decide is what you do, the things that you can think, like I'm going to get my water, and we're going to talk about protein, and we'll talk about all these things that you can do to try to make sure that your body feels good about letting go of some of this weight. If your body doesn't feel good, if it's in a state of stress, and I mean by stress that we can manage, not that you're, I can't manage your stress at work or the things that what your kid's doing or something like that. What we can do is send all the signals to our body that our basic needs are being met, right? We have enough food, we have enough water. And if we're not sending those signals to our body, including the nutrients, our body's going to go into panic mode and ultimately stop us from achieving our goals, which is overall wellness with some weight loss.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We
water. So the goal for tonight is achievable goals and water.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't
think
let your
it's a big
body
one.
think you're
Yeah.
starving.
If you just start with that, and I wrote this down, so I want to say it right. Let me find it on this page. But it's hydration is a multiplier. It's not a driver. So you can't necessarily just drink water and lose weight. Just that alone. You change nothing else and you drink water and you lose weight. However, when you are working on all these other things that we're going to be talking about and you're starting this process, it can be a multiplier, meaning that it can enhance, help your body with that weight loss. And it's so important to just add those things in there. So we really want to amplify that. I think we always think of weight loss as what you have to take away. What do I have to deprive my body of? We're proposing that it's as much as you need to take away from your body, maybe excess calories or that extra donut or sugar or whatever it is. We're also proposing that there's a lot of things that can be added to help with weight loss.
Right.
So we'll talk about a ton of those things.
And so number one of those is going to be water.
Yep. Get your water in.
Okay. Get your water in. That'll be it. That'll be a wrap for tonight. Please remember that, let's see if I can make this happen here. There we go. As a reminder, the content shared on Healthier Ever After is intended for general educational only and should not be used as individual medical advice. Decisions regarding GLP-1 medication, supplements, weight loss, treatments, and lifestyle changes should always be made in partnership with your healthcare provider. If you have specific medical questions or concerns, please seek guidance from a licensed medical professional. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Would love it if you look us up on supportmyweightloss.com. Follow us on Instagram at supportmyweightloss. Tell your friends, get us a like, I guess, and
a follow,
whatever
it is that we get.
We're
big time rookies with this.
We're so not like technical. It's like, I text with periods.
Yep.
I'm apparently the whole thing. Anyway, all right. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back next week.